them right quickly. Many years, so we have not changed it. And what I need is a motion that we accept the Committee on State and Institution Property 2025-2026 rules and regulations.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the rules of the Senate Committee on State Institutions and Properties for 2025-26.
Do we have a second?
I second that, but I do have a question.
All right, go ahead and question.
Number one says a quorum for the committee shall be four.
It was, that's a misprint. It should scratch it out, and it's 3.
Okay. All right, so we need, everybody agrees to that?
Yes.
3?
Yes.
It was a typo.
All right, just to clarify.
Moved and properly seconded.
Yes, sir.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. Thank you very much. We're glad to have you here, Chairman. The Dean is green. Is that right? Good to have you. Good to see you again. And let's go and start peeling back the onion skins and get it done, starting with House Resolution 97. These are the housekeeping bills of the State Institution Property Committee for this year so far. And I understand we have one issue that we may, people are asking me about already, so go ahead and present, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Dean of the Senate, and we appreciate always, Senator, that y'all are willing to listen and act on these issues there. To the members there, we're going to take up, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, House Resolution 97, and it's LC 62011185.
1185, okay. Got it.
I'm sorry, S. Is that right?
Mr. Sub, right? Yes, we're there.
Yes, it is a
Yes,
sub.
Right, we're there.
Okay. And, Mr. Chairman, with your permission, I'd like Frank Smith to
Absolutely.
go ahead and present these since they were the ones that worked on them, worked them out and everything, and did the presentation in the House there. And he's is very knowledgeable about these easements.
All right, proceed,
Or the
please. Thank you.
conveyances first.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Afternoon, Mr. Chairman and members. Again, Frank Smith of the State Properties Commission. You should have in your package a synopsis that kind of looks like this. And if it's all right, I'll work off that page instead of the actual bill. Instead of having to go through a lot of lines, this will be maybe easier for us to digest, if that's all right.
And in addition to that, this is just regular housekeeping things. It's usually
Yes, sir.
a tenth of an acre of 97 feet. It's really giving access to Georgia Power and that kind of thing in other
Yes.
parts.
Yes,
what
that's
this is
correct.
like. Go ahead.
House
Go ahead.
Resolution 97 is the conveyances, so it could be larger, but a lot of times it is a conveyance to a local government or Department of Transportation or City of Atlanta, something like that. So if it's okay, I'll just quickly run through these that are on your sheet, and I'll be happy to answer any questions, Mr. Chairman, if that's all right.
Yes, sir.
In Bryan County, this is a conveyance of .16 of an acre. This is to Bryan County. The consideration is $5,634. They are adding a roundabout. In Cherokee County, lease of a very small area that's a telecommunication tower to the Cherokee Board of Commissioners. This is an old lease that has expired, is expiring. This would just be extending that term another 6 years, and the consideration would be nominal. Wherever you see a $10 consideration,
That's
the
nominal.
state deems they're either a state benefit or a public benefit. So in this case, the Cherokee County Board of Commissioners wants to use it for their telecommunication. That's a local entity. The state believes that is a public purpose and a nominal consideration is acceptable.
Okay.
In Clark County, This will be conveying about 3 acres, which is the Athens field office for the Department of Community Supervision. This will actually be an exchange. This Mallory Evans Development LLC is going to construct a brand-new field office for us, and once they construct it, we will swap our property for their property.
And just a swap, no money exchange, right?
No, sir, no money exchange. Yes, sir. In Colquitt County, convey about 5.4 acres to Moultrie Colquitt County Development Authority. This is, the consideration would be fair market value, so we'll appraise this land and convey it to them for market value. This is vacant land which would support the expansion of Pratt Whitney. In Effingham County, to amend the lease, there's a 30-year lease currently with the Effingham County Board of Commissioners. This would amend in an additional 1.6 acres because the Career Academy needs a little bit more parking. In Fulton County, convey about .006 of an acre down by the World Congress Center. This will be to the Department of Transportation for a decel lane. Glenn County is the one, Mr. Chairman, you're talking about that's a little bit unique, and I will take a little more time to cover this one. Glen New Hope 1043 is a private entity, and they filed a quiet title action against the state claiming ownership of 4,086 acres of marshland. The Attorney General's office negotiated a settlement agreement under some general terms. The highlights of the terms are, upon the approval of a mitigation bank by the Corps of Engineers, the state will convey title to the property to Glen New Hope. The state will receive 20% of any mitigation credits generated from an approved bank. If no bank is approved or no credits are generated after a 10-year period following the mitigation bank approval, Glen New Hope will convey the property back to the state. And upon the 25th anniversary of the settlement agreement, Glen New Hope will quitclaim its interest back to the state.
Now, so basically what this does is, after the lawsuit, you got together and worked out something and filtered it through the Attorney General's office and
Yes.
got it squared away. But where we are now, you're trying to get together and settle it out finally so you can make a final distribution one way or
Yes,
the
sir.
other. Any question for members of the Senator Harrell?
So yeah, when the word dispute comes up, and it's 4,000 acres of marshland,
Yes,
which
ma'am.
this body had, in the 1970s, did incredible actions to protect. It gets my radar up just a little bit.
Great.
So I was wondering if the State Properties Commission and the Department of Law, if possible, could they provide the paperwork for us? Whatever's out there, maybe even it might include the Glen Superior Court, the paperwork that memorializes the ownership dispute, so we can look at that in a little bit more detail.
Yes, ma'am. I can take that request to the Attorney General's office. I mean, it's an active litigation, so I know we'll have to see what they can provide, but happy to take that request to them.
Yeah, because this body would be basically putting our blessing on whatever came up with. It seems like we should
Yes, ma'am.
look at that a little bit more deeply.
Yes, ma'am. And I'll tell you, I appreciate your concern and care for the marsh. At the end of the day, when I say at the end of the day, after a 25-year period, the state will receive clear title ownership to all 4,000 acres. So, that's one thing that the state fought very hard for is when there's a settlement, there's a dispute, but at the end of the day, we're going to control it, we're going to own it at the end of a 25-year period. So, we value the marsh and care for it as you do.
We're lucky to have it.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other comments? Proceed.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Chairman, going back to Habersham County, convey about 4.75 acres to the town of Alto. This will be for a water tower to improve their water system. In Habersham County, convey about 20 acres to Habersham County for $10. The property will be used for a public purpose, which is their emergency management and a sheriff's office. Also, still in Habersham County, convey about 180 acres of the Lee Arundel Correctional Institute still to Habersham County. This time, this would be for fair market value. The reason for that is the Development Authority would like to try to attract business. And when we start having private businesses operate on property, the state needs to get fair market value for that property. In Hall County, convey about 3.7 acres, a portion of Lanier Tech, to the Department of Transportation for about $229,000. They are adding another roundabout. Also in Hall County, the lease of a communication tower to Southern Link for 25 years for fair market value. This is really a dual benefit. The state gets the lease consideration from Southern Link, but also DPS uses Southern Link for their communications. So it's a dual benefit there. In Henry County, convey about 0.33 of an acre to Henry County for $67,000. This is a road widening project. In Miller, Sumter, and Tatnall, all three of those are the exact same thing in that Southern Link has come to us on State Patrol Post 14, 10, and 18 and asked for a 25-year lease for a telecommunications tower.
And there's no charge to those at all, right? State?
No, those would all be for fair market value, so we would appraise
Okay.
those
All right.
for Southern Link. And then the committee substitute that has been offered would add 2 additional conveyances, one in Fulton County being about 3 acres to the city of Atlanta, which is a portion of Lower Wall Street. The Georgia Building Authority conveyed 2 Peachtree to the city of Atlanta a couple years ago. This is a street that connects 90 Central Parking Deck and 2 Peachtree. The state really doesn't want to maintain a road, so we're going to convey it to the city of Atlanta for a nominal consideration. They're going to maintain it, and we'll have an access easement over it. And finally, in Sumter County, convey about 11.5 acres, the Sumter Armory, to the Sumter County Board of Commissioners for fair market value. And that wraps us up on,
On that issue, right?
yes, sir.
All right. What is the pleasure of the, what we did? We got one person. Is that Mark Woodall I'm looking at? Yeah, okay.
Where you
Please,
want me?
take podium. No, sit right there. Sit right there, be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Mark Woodall. I'm the legislative chair for the Sierra Club, the nation's oldest and largest environmental group with over 3 million members and supporters across the United States. You folks have talked a little bit about this 4,000 acres of marshland, and it gives us a lot of concern. You may be surprised to learn that the value of that amount of wetlands, coastal marshland, is well in excess of $100 million. So we would like to know more about what's going on with this transaction. In the past, the Attorney General's office has very strongly opposed these claims going back to the King's grants and the grants by Governor Lumpkin. So we, for 3 years now, have been fighting in the House. Y'all haven't seen it in the Senate, thank goodness, a bill that would make it easier to get the title to those King's grants at Coastal Marsh. A fellow by the name of Dr. Jerry Williams, No Free LLC. And he has been litigating over 500 acres in Bryan County. Recently, he won this case in the Georgia Court of Appeals. One of his lawyers is former Justice Namias. And so we've been wondering why it is that they wanted this bill they've been trying to pass for 3 years. Because as was mentioned earlier, in 1970, we passed the Coastal Marshlands Protection Act. So this land's still going to be subject to the Coastal Marshlands Protection Act. So Justice Namias told the Court of Appeals that 500 acres in Bryan County was worth over $100 million for mitigation. So this is 8 times more. So we're not sure what it's worth, but it's worth a lot. So we would just like to make sure that our marshes are protected and the state of Georgia's interest is being protected. Now, we do like to talk about it coming back, but I mean, how many millions of dollars are these folks going to make off this? And why do we not litigate like the AG has been doing in the past?
Well, those are questions I'll pass on to Frank and the gang to see what we can. I mean, this is in the hands of the law. They've dealt with that, and you're still in talks about it, trying to get a final resolution.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Yes.
And would you please address
Sure.
his concerns as well?
Yeah, the Attorney General's office is the one litigating on the state's behalf. This legislation would just continue to allow them to try to resolve through a settlement the claim. So I can't speak to why the Attorney General's office wouldn't choose to litigate versus settle. What they have informed us is that a settlement is in the best interest of the state. So I'm just going off what the Attorney General's office has advised us.
Could I say one more thing, Mr. Chairman? We just were able to find the litigation file down there at the courthouse in Brunswick. So we just got a copy of this litigation yesterday. So we just, I mean, this is a House resolution, and we don't want to unreasonably delay things, but we just feel like y'all need to hold this till we can get some more answers to this, what's going on down there.
The members of the House, and I'll speak to the chairman of the committee of the House, and Frank as well, is there a problem about the holding up for it till they can take a look at it? Where we before Passover? I mean, I didn't mean that. Not that one. But crossover week, before we pass the bill, we don't want to do something to stop, hinder progress between what you, the Attorney General, and what you guys and the department has already discussed. Where are we with that? What are your thoughts on that?
Mr. Chairman and members of the committee, we have long sought to try to get this worked out and this is, this ongoing settlement here is one of the best things that we have seen. We've had pieces of legislation that we've had to actually fight over in the House to keep, our ownership and keep our part of concern in here for the marshlands. Because as we've already talked about, these are very important to the state of Georgia. And this is the first time that we've had the opportunity to really have something that
To
is
start moving.
that's good.
Okay. All right. Well, based on that, we appreciate the input and we'll consider that, but to keep it moving and make sure we can take care of the rest of the business of the state of Georgia and the State Institution Property Committee. And I'll be aware of that too, because I think he made some good points. I just wasn't up on it until right now, till we discussed this morning. And what I would like to do is keep it moving, but we got to go through a couple of more steps before we get to the Senate floor in the first place. So what I would like to do is keep it moving and ask for what is the pleasure of the members of the committee at this time. Yes,
This is a
you ate,
House.
right?
10. This is a House resolution,
That's good.
so it's already passed the House?
Yes, it
So
has.
we're not in a hurry for crossover day.
Right.
So can we take a little more time with it
Well,
without holding it up?
Well, what I would like to do is not break this one out. If we do, we're going to stop a lot of other things that we got pending. But what we can do is just leave it in rules, and we can always change it if the Rules Committee meet as a whole, as a committee itself. And I think we can do something right there if we need to. If you don't mind, I would like to do it that way.
Okay.
Any other input? What's your pleasure? Senator Kemp?
I'll make a motion to pass HR 97 as a substitute.
You got a second? No second?
Second.
All right, moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, like sign. All right, to pass, we do that. What about the next one?
You know, we
And
gonna
I'll
get
be
some more-
aware-
We're gonna get some more information.
Oh, ain't no doubt about it. I respect, yeah, I'm very respectful of that,
Yeah,
right.
we found that was worth $100 million.
Oh, yeah, and I was shocked to hear him say that too.
Mr. Chairman, you're on rules too, aren't you?
Yeah, I am. I am on rules. What's the next one? I'm on 98, right?
Yeah, HR.
Yes, sir. I'm ready, sir.
LC 620119, that's
9S, right? Oh, 119.
Yes.
All right, I'm there. You may proceed.
All right, thank you, Mr. Chairman. The same thing here, I'll go through these, I may even go through these a little quicker. The easements are anywhere we, the state, would be conveying typically to a utility, gas, electric. Where you'll hear me say, again, $10 or nominal consideration is where we have constructed a facility like the Technical College builds a new building, we need power to that building.
Okay.
We need Georgia Power to come across our property to run a power line to our building. We're not going to charge them money to put in a power line to our building, but we've got to grant them an easement to run that power line to our facility. So that's a lot of what these items are, and I'll go through them quickly. In Bryan County, an easement to Georgia Power at Fort Yargo. This would be providing power to the beach and day use area for $10. In Bryan County, an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 2.3 acres to the Quick Start Training Center. This again brings power to a TCSG facility for $10. In Chatham County, an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 0.78 of an acre, another Quick Start TCSG facility for $10. In Cherokee County, this would be an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 4.5 acres at McGraw Ford Wildlife Management Area. This would be a transmission line to tie in to their connected battery storage station. This one is actually fair market value, not less than $650. The reason that's fair market value is it's just coming through our property to connect to a battery station. It does not benefit our property or benefit a public city or county, if that makes sense. Coweta County, an easement to Spectrum over about 3 acres at Chattahoochee Bend. This would be to bring fiber optic lines to improve communications at the park for $10. In Fulton County, an easement to the city of Atlanta over approximately 0.09 of an acre. This would be the cost would be $96,000 for the Central Avenue Bridge Replacement Project. In Haralson County, an easement to Georgia Power at West Georgia Tech, the Murphy campus. This would be to serve a new industrial building for the Technical College for $10. In Lamar County, the city of Barnesville over approximately 0.4 of an acre. This would be the Barnesville Field Office Sewer System Upgrade for $10. McDuffie County, an easement to Jefferson Energy Cooperative over about half an acre. This would be underground distribution lines to serve a new residence building for $10. In Paulding County, granting an easement to Georgia Power over approximately 0.2 of an acre at the Paulding Forest WMA. Underground distribution lines to serve Paulding County 911 Communications Tower for $10. In Walker County, an easement to North Georgia EMC, about 0.2 of an acre at Crockford Pigeon Mountain to serve a new maintenance facility for $10. And finally, in Walton County, grant an easement to Newton County Water and Sewer Authority over about 7 acres for the installation and maintenance of a water tower and underground water supply for $10. And then continuing on would be the 6 additions on the Senate side. In Barrow County, an easement to Georgia Power, about 15 acres for underground fiber optic lines for Georgia Power. This would be to serve private entities, so it would be for fair market value. In Glenn County, an easement to the Brunswick-Glenn Joint Sewer Commission, approximately 8 acres for various underground utilities to serve the Hoffel Plantation for $10. This would add additional fire protection and a fire hydrant. In Habersham County, an easement to Georgia Power for about 0.2 of an acre. This would be for underground wire and transformer to serve a TCSG building for $10. In Hall County, Georgia Power, an easement to Georgia Power for about 1.6 acres for the relocation of distribution lines. The cost would be fair market value because this again just runs through our property and doesn't serve our property. In Haralson County, an easement to Atlanta Gas and Light, about 0.7 of an acre at West Georgia Technical College for underground gas distribution lines to serve a technical college industrial building for $10. And finally, in Jeff Davis County, an easement to Satilla Rural EMC for a very small portion that would serve our new driver services customer service center with power.
All right. And one of the things before we take a vote on this, could you give us an idea for members of the new members for the aggrandizement of their knowledge of what we do here, what you do in the department, just how many instances, like cases, what's the monetary value of the things we deal with in your department and that kind of thing? Thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and how much money brings into the state of Georgia?
Sure. So in the Properties Commission, we oversee, the state owns about 800,000 acres of land. Typically that's forest land or wildlife management land. We have about 12,000 buildings that the state owns all over And we also have about 2,000 leases where we are the tenant leasing from a private entity. So that real estate portfolio is what we try to oversee on behalf of each state entity. We don't operate for or behalf of any private entity. We are solely to support state agencies and their real estate needs. That's generally what we do.
Okay. And finally, I just want to go back to the Glenn County thing and later about that was something that was done through litigation, carefully crafted and agreed upon. Is that right? Am I in the right ballpark? What happened there, that it was something that you still have miles to go in there to make sure that we're not cheated. You mentioned $100 million, and I was surprised at that number myself. So I just want to make sure that it would not be treated lightly. We'll take a look at it, okay? In the way, only the way we can, okay? All right, I hear a motion to accept House Resolution 98 as substitute.
Move on House Resolution 98 to pass.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
All moved and properly seconded. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. That's it. I think we did it. Dean Green, you did a good job. You talked all the while and made sure we
Absolutely.
listened.
And I didn't move my mouth.
You did, you did. But we know where to go. You're the go-to man. We thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
the job you do for the state property commissions. Thank
you,
you
Mr.
both. Appreciate y'all. If we have no other business coming before this committee, we stand adjourned. Thank you for your time.
Thank y'all so much.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, yeah.